Okay, so we are live. It is 3/17/2024, and it's almost quarter of 1 o'clock in the morning. Um, and good news is I got my computer back. Um, so hopefully we don't have any issues like we had last week tonight. Apparently it was just the power cord because I got another one and it seems to be. Uh, Eventually I'll probably have to replace the internal battery too, but for now it's working and that's all we really care about. So let me play my intro and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's the end of that. Hello, Jocelyn. How are you? Hello, Southern Gal True Crime. Always good to have both of you guys here. I don't know if you guys caught the beginning of this, but I got my computer back. So it was just a power cord. So all of that bitching and moaning for absolutely no reason. I just bought a new power cord, and so far it seems to be working pretty good. So just kind of cross our fingers a little bit. All right, so I think good. Like I said, yeah, yay, woo! Um, First thing, let's see here. I hope everybody had a good week. Um, I know there's a lot of shit going on, especially with the Delphi mess. Um, but I'm going to try not to get into that too much. I was going to go over the timeline tonight, but we'll see what happens. Let's go to. Let's first go to because I know this isn't going to be true crime related, but we're going to go to Indiana first here. And it was some pretty severe weather that happened this week. So let's. I saw it coming. It's going to be a pretty tough year for that stuff. So give me a second here while I history. Where's my history? Right here. Let's go. I had a good week. This was nice and warm this week, but it's going to cool down again here pretty soon. So let's go here first. And give me a second. I'll share this here. Yeah, these storms here, I saw them. I saw them coming. What was it? Middle of the week, I think. And they look pretty bad. So I sent out a community thing on that earlier.
I look right now outside across downtown Indianapolis. We've had a destructive night. Several storms have passed through several parts of the state. Here in downtown Indy, in our area now. No more rain, no more threat of any
severe weather threats over now. Now we'll kind of focus on the weather for the.
Hey, Mark, how are you? Shit, I forgot to make you a mod. Give me a second. Hold on a minute. Good to see you, buddy. Just going over some of the damage that happened in, especially Indiana and Ohio, I think.
The cleanup efforts in the days ahead here, and unfortunately it is going to be turning windy, and it's eventually going to be turning colder too here. Let's talk about all those storm reports. We had a lot of hail reports. Obviously the long track supercell that went through Delaware, Randolph counties and actually went into Ohio, still producing tornadoes. And we had a tornado just after our noon show yesterday crossing the Ohio River from Madison into northern Kentucky. As is very common during the spring, we went from back-to-back days in the mid-70s. Front came through, and now compared to yesterday, 15 to 20 degrees colder. As expected, cloudy now, but as we look to the north, we're starting to see a clearing trend. It happens from north to south. That means you get into the sun earlier. Lafayette and Kokomo, it's going to be cloudy most of your day. Bedford, Seymour, Columbus, and Bloomington. And I would suspect here by 4 o'clock, we should start to see a brightening sky in the metro area. St. Patrick's Day parade ongoing right now in downtown Indy with cloud cover, temperatures in the 40s. A wind from the north and northeast is going to be.
All right, let me know if that worked, Mark. I think I just made you a mod, but I could be wrong. Let me know if that worked. And if you have a channel, go ahead and post it in here. Anybody that has a channel can post it in here for sure. Let me get back to this here.
Brisk. Here's the timeline for this afternoon.
This computer is just so much faster than the other one. The other one, that's a good computer, but just doesn't have the speed that this one does. So I'm just glad to have it back. It's, and I don't want to go out and buy another one because you never know what you're going to get. It's like.
And as we'll start to clear it out, we're going to finish with a good dose of sun. Temperatures recover close to 60 degrees. We've got your weekend covered, and wind temperatures will drop well into the 20s, all ahead in the 70s.
What are we learning right now?
One of the hardest hit areas here in Randolph County is just east of downtown Winchester. Take a look behind us. Where I'm standing right now, this used to be the drive-through for a Taco Bell by the Walmart here. But take a look here behind us. There is quite.
It's my binky. This computer is my big. I've had this computer for, 3 years. And I think it was over the summer. Somebody spilt ginger ale on a table and got underneath the battery. So, I revived it from that. Now I just replaced the power cord, so I think it's working pretty good now. The sound is better on this computer too. Let me know if everybody can hear this.
Simply nothing left of this building. You can see as search crews begin to evaluate this situation here, it has been a long day of cleanup here in Winchester.
Never been through nothing like this. That's the worst thing I've ever been through in my life.
Andrew Day.
Look at this car. Or what it looks like an SUV here is just flipped right over.
Of sorting through the debris in and around his brand new Jeep.
Bought it 3 months ago.
And even worse, Andy tells me he was inside that Taco.
Thank you guys for the sound check.
Fell last night with two of his coworkers. He says they took shelter in a walk-in cooler.
I went in the walk-in and then turned around and grabbed the door like this, and then you could feel the building start shaking, and then that door right there, that walk-in door, blew me back about 15 feet into those racks.
Luckily, Andy says he made it out unharmed. Next door, the Goodwill right off US 27 is ripped open this afternoon. The president telling us 3 employees had to take shelter inside.
Right now, we're just grateful that there were no serious injuries.
Today, we also saw the mayor of Winchester touring the damage alongside Governor Eric Holcomb and Indiana State Police. So far, nearly 40 people are hurt, 3 critically.
Yeah, they're technically in, what they call Tornado Alley. So Indiana, Ohio, anywhere where it's, low level stuff. I usually try to track this stuff when it starts getting bad like this here. So if there's any, Texas seems to be getting it today and into tonight, but it'll be a bad spring for sure, because it's just been, unusually warm this year here. So.
But in all the destruction we've seen over the last 16 hours, a glimmer of hope. In the middle of the debris, overnight, we came across this music sheet with the songs When Love Shines In and An Evening Prayer. So as cleanup efforts continue this afternoon, local and state officials want folks to know help is here. Volunteers are here. In fact, earlier today, we went by the Reunification Center over at the high school. There is a warm place to sleep and food and drinks. So we will have much more from Randolph County throughout the day at WTHR.com. In Winchester, I'm Samantha Johnson, 13 News.
Thank you, Samantha. Taking a look in depth.
I mean, look at that. It's just, you could tell this is tornado stuff because, some buildings are completely leveled and some just aren't. There's nothing going on here with this one. So it's, look, just flipped over cars. Just look at this, just mangled here. But, some of these buildings don't look like anything happened to them. It's weird.
Delaware County now. Dozens of people in Selma are without a place to call home this afternoon after crews start the cleanup process there. Our Matthew Fultz was there and as workers and homeowners surveyed the damage.
Right now, I'm surrounded by what used to be this home behind me. You can see the roof now laying in the backyard. And I actually spoke with a man who says he was inside the home when the storm rolled through and debris went flying.
As soon as I got to the hallway, the roof ripped off, the 2 walls just caved in on me, and I rode it out there.
Justin Dobbs describes the frightening moments of survival after a possible tornado ripped his home to pieces here in Selma, Indiana.
I really can't get no place in there.
Thursday night.
We didn't hear no siren, just the wind started picking up and our lights went out, so I started looking for the cats, and then I heard a window break, and then the roof just ripped off the house.
Look at this, like just nothing left. It's rubble. Tornadoes can be pretty bad. Microbursts can be bad too. We've had them up here. Over here in New England, especially eastern New England here, we don't get a lot of the tornado stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised if we did this year. Like I said, it's been fairly, more mild than anything else here.
Dobbs was among dozens of people along Jackson Street who were lucky enough to live through the strong winds from the storm.
Just like the metal in the trees.
Delaware County emergency officials say more than half of the town's structures were damaged in the storm.
I mean, it took less than a minute to do this damage.
Sharon Smith says she and her husband were watching the storm before running inside their home.
First saw some rotation and then heard the roar. And we could see the rain swirling.
Now the cleanup process begins as dozens of local residents chip in to clear wood and debris. Power companies now surveying the damage, working to restore power to hundreds of customers here in Selma. For now, they're just counting their blessings. Things weren't worse.
I just thank God. It's amazing, especially to come out with no injuries.
Pray for Winchester, pray for Selma. We are good. We will be fine. We'll come back.
So this is, I'm going to post this to here. Yeah, microbursts are pretty terrible. We had one here that went out to the coast a few years back now, for sure. A lot of trees down. All right, so I didn't want to post this here. This is typically I don't know if they've updated this yet or not, but this is typically Tornado Alley here, and most of it comes from the Gulf of Mexico here, the moisture here, and then you get these fronts that come by in the in the spring, and it just causes nothing but circulation in here. So, but if you're anywhere here, and they've actually expanded this now, let me play to this here. So it's pushing more. Lately, they've been pushing a little bit more east than just in your typical alley here, Nebraska stuff. So there's that. Let me get out of here now. We'll go back to that. Hey, Miranda, how are you? I just hold on a second.
Reporting in Delaware County, Matthew Foltz, 13 News.
All right, and right now we are monitoring power outages across Randolph County this afternoon. Take a look at this. This is the...
I just posted it. Hold on a second. I did that because I was thinking of you. I remember you and Steve's chat tonight asking for the email, and it was right here. Let me just made that tonight. So if you want to send anything, just send it, here. What am I doing? All right, right here.
Outage map from Indiana Michigan Power. At last check, more than 3,000 people are without power right now. It looks like the majority of the outages are in and near Winchester. Right now, we are working to find out how many crews are trying to get power restored. Of course, we will update you when we learn more. And right now, neighbors in Madison County are also recovering after at least one tornado touched down in southern Indiana. Now, this is some of the damage near Madison. Right now, we know EMS says a tornado touched down around 2 yesterday afternoon. Jefferson County leaders say they got reports
Geez, I hope everybody's okay over there.
Of damage in the Hanover area and Brooksburg. Indiana State Police say several homes were hit, trees and power lines were down. Our sister station.
Oh, you're welcome, Miranda. I just had so many issues with the computer last week that I forgot to do it. So now that I got my computer back, let me know if it works. If it doesn't work, then I'll have to do it again. It used to be so easy to create an email. Now it seems to be a little bit more difficult, but you're welcome.
In Louisville talked with someone in Hanover who told us the storms sounded like a freight train coming, then it hit.
I heard the noise first, the train, then I just ducked down on the floor, and then I felt all that insulation falling on me, and it was blowing unbelievable.
Is that what's on your sweater?
Yeah, I couldn't see, I had to dig my way out of it because there's 2 feet of it in there.
Thank goodness he and everyone else is okay there. That storm also hit Milton, Kentucky, causing massive damage. Officials with the National Weather Service says it was an EF2 tornado that hit Milton.
Yeah, an EF2 is pretty bad. Okay, so let's get out of there. I do want to go to this story here. Getting back into true crime here. So let's, let me, so this is the latest on this here. Let me share the screen. Share the screen, I mean, that screen. Hey, Dean, how are you? Good to see you, buddy. All right, so this happened, this was 9 hours ago. This happened, I think, in Carolina. The Charlotte mother and 2 younger children were found alive in their home in Northeast Charlotte Friday afternoon, police said. So let's play the press conference here.
Go ahead and get started. I have Chief Johnny Jennings.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon, but unfortunately have some grave news to report and some information to talk about in reference to a missing persons report that was first put out on March the 8th, on Friday, March the 8th, for 22-year-old Markayla Johnson and her children, 4-year-old Miracle Johnson and 7-month-old Messiah Johnson. As detectives
So apparently they put out a missing persons report for this, and then they found them, I think it was today, unalived. This is just another horrible one of these stories.
began to investigate this missing persons case at the time, subsequently ended up conducting a search warrant at the residence here Friday, March the 15th. That search warrant.
I know there's so many, right, Southern Gal? This is for the Charlotte mother and the 2 young children. Pretty sure this is in Carolina.
Unfortunately revealed the bodies of all three, Markayla, Miracle, and Messiah. And behind me is a grieving family that lost their loved ones, and now have to move forward because of the hands of another person.
I don't think so. I'm going to be going. You're talking about Riley? Yeah, I know there's just so many things going on right now. Just horrible. Like every day there's a new missing person. I know they found the one here in New Hampshire, deceased. What was her name? Turcotte. But they don't think that one was foul play. So, but we'll be going over that one too.
Without their loved, their family members. This is difficult for me as the police chief. As you look at homicides that have been occurring across our city, nothing is worse than homicides of small children and family members, as we're seeing and talking about today.
The Riley Strain case reminds me a little of the Dylan Rounds thing. I mean, not kind of the same situation, but all of a sudden he just went missing, right? It's just weird. Oops.
We're going to do everything that we can to make sure that we bring closure for the family and also bring justice to the person responsible for these murders. And we're going to continue on until that is concluded. And as we said, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to do everything we can. That includes a nationwide search for a person of interest that we're looking at this time. So with that, I'll take any questions.
I'm kind of confused over the Riley Strain case and then the Sebastian Rogers. It's just like every day there's a new missing persons thing. But we'll go over most of them, I think.
And not a whole lot. Please understand that this investigation is moving forward very.
I mean, I'd like to get back to some of my deep dives here at some point because, but there's just so many other cases going on right now. It's just
very quickly. There will be some things that I will not be able to talk about just for the sake of trying to ensure that we uphold the integrity of the investigation and also be able to locate our person of interest. So I'll answer any questions you might have.
Is this a local person that you folks are looking for, and is there a vehicle possibly that would help to identify the person?
The person that we are looking for is within the state of North Carolina and South Carolina. However, we don't know where that person is at this time, but we are actively looking for her. She was in a relationship.
Hello, CJK. How are you? Good to see you. Always good to have CJK in here.
That is the person that we are looking for, that she was acquainted with. That is why we want to make sure that we know that that everyone knows that it's not a random act that we're talking about. However, she was she did have knowledge of who the person was that we are looking for at this point. So they were in a relationship.
Is this domestic related, domestic violence related, or
Yeah, we have no
You got to be absolutely crazy to just unalive everybody in the house and then just take off, especially kids. This is just horrible.
No idea on the motive. Don't know if we talk about domestic violence and what the motive might be. At this point, it's still very early. We won't know that. Again, at this time, we know he's a person of interest. A lot of this information will be coming out within the next couple of days. But at this point, we want to make sure that we try to do our due diligence.
It was good to see Steve tonight. I'm starting to get a little worried about him. I didn't know what was going on. Haven't heard from him, and then I don't know what was up. But it was good to see him tonight for sure.
To locate this individual and bring justice for this family.
Did that person have any pride?
This is in, I believe this is in South Carolina, CJK. This is horrible. They put out a missing persons report, and then they found they found him. I think it was today. This was done 9 hours ago. So.
Prior violence or any kind of record or anything that might have showed that something like this?
Well, at this time, it is, like, again, early. I don't have the information as far as the history of the individual. And like I said, we want to be able to talk to this person to be able to get some answers as far as what might have happened out here. I can't at this time, no.
How did you guys know to get the search warrant for the property?
After you do a missing persons investigation, you basically have to exhaust all leads that you possibly can. At that point, within a week of doing the investigation from...
Hello, Ms. Persevere. How are you? Good to see you. Hope everybody's having a good week. Just going over this case here for a little bit. This was in, I believe this was in Charlotte, South Carolina. So apparently this is the boyfriend or whatever, significant other of the mother, and he just unalived them all and then took off. That's the theory anyways. So
from our missing persons unit, they were able to determine that all leads were exhausted. There was a potential that some sort of criminal activity had occurred, and we were able to get a search warrant and develop probable cause Friday. Yes, she was found in her apartment.
Were the children in the same area, same room?
The children were also found on the property. Again, part of the investigation that I won't get too much into, but all three were found on the property here.
Yesterday, we saw a gray vehicle towed from this location. Are you able to confirm any connection to whose vehicle that is?
I can't right now, no. I'm not sure if that was the vehicle. There was a vehicle on the scene that we had an interest in, but at this point, we don't know what we'll have to figure out what the connection with that vehicle you're talking about is. Yeah. Well, people ask me all the time, one of the most difficult parts of this job, and I have no hesitation in saying, is talking when we're losing the lives of our young people. I've been stressing for over a year or many years now, and as police chief, the tragedy that comes with losing the lives of our young people. They're talking about our future.
It just sucks. It's just absolutely horrible. Every day. If you're in a true crime, you got plenty of content. Unfortunately, this is just people have nothing better than to do with their time than just unalive children. It's just stupid. It's just I don't know what's going
on. So it is difficult, and what it says about someone who can take the life of children, babies, what that says about that individual. It's a scary thought to think that we have people like that are in our streets and preying upon our citizens, and we want to make sure we bring justice as quickly and swiftly as possible.
It's just unacceptable. This is just not acceptable in society. It's just these poor people. I mean,
well, I'm not sure how much a 7-month-old can be a witness, but at the same time, I don't want to speculate as to the reasoning behind any of these murders. It's too early to tell, and those are some things that he might be the only one that can answer those questions for us. So that's why we're working very hard to try and locate this individual and get some of these questions answered. Preliminarily, I can say I don't believe he was. He was not. I don't think it's.
Everybody back here is shaking their heads, so it's not. I don't know if it's the father. I think that's what the question was. Hold on a second.
Preliminarily, I can say I don't believe he was. He was not. I don't think it's. No, he was not. And also, let me just also be clear that we still have to get confirmation from the medical examiner's office. We're presuming at this point that all three were who we were looking for, or who I mentioned. But at the same time, the medical examiner's office on Monday will give us that confirmation.
Any other questions for the chief?
Did you find any identification on the body of the adult or anything like that?
Well, like I mentioned.
I agree 100%, Dean. Just something that, just skip the line, right to the. I mean, you look at like the Chad Dorman case, right? Like, he did it. So why are we wasting all this time going to court? And just a fast track, right to never being able to do this again to anybody,
Earlier, we can presume that who we found were the body of Markayla and her children.
That's why I refuse to get involved in some of the stuff that's going on right now in the Delphi case, because it's just, it's not for me, just my thing is to wait for the trial. If the trial happens, we'll wait for that and get the real answers, or some answers at some point. I'm just not going to get involved in all of the freaking drama just to create content. I'm not going to do it. I have my opinions on the case, but in the end, opinions really aren't going to matter too much. It's going to come down to 12 people. Let's hope, anyways. And hopefully all the bullshit goes away.
Again, that has to be validated by the medical examiner's office.
But I will say one thing: I have no respect for anybody attacking families. You can attack people's opinions, credibility, and stuff like that. But when you attack people's families and get people's family members involved, I think, yeah, I agree with you. I don't get involved in the court things because it'll just absolutely drive you crazy. The lawyers back and forth, all of this bullshit drama. I mean, if I was the parents, of the victims, I'd be absolutely freaking bullshit. They got to go through enough drama, but I just stay out of it. I'm just going to stay out of it because wait for the courts to decide, I guess.
At this point, we're pretty confident that we've located all three.
Chief, obviously, it's not every day you have such strong
exactly.
Family support on a difficult thing like this.
Yes.
I know you've had a chance to talk to them. What does this mean when you see a family pulling together like this?
Well, first of all, I thank them for coming and realize how difficult this must be to come back here and to stand behind me. But what this does is puts a face. We talk about numbers all the time, and we talk about cases that we deal with, and oftentimes those are reported and then forgotten about. This is what we see right here.
You know what I mean? You never know what a jury's going to do. I've seen cases where, the evidence is fairly weak, and all of a sudden, the trial is over and the jury gets the verdict, and 10 minutes later they come back with a guilty verdict. It's like, but you never know. I mean, I've seen cases where they have so much evidence and just one, glitch to that evidence, and then you get not guilty. So it's juries, man. You never know what's going to happen.
When we talk about our police department and our detectives, this is what happens after gruesome acts of violence occur and we lose loved ones. And so there's a lot more to someone being murdered than just simply a number. And I think this is a good showing for that.
I agree. I just, the insertion into the cases is just ridiculous. It's just like me and Steve definitely agree on this. The people who just insert themselves into the case, you always have those crazy lunatics that come into the case and say, I'm guilty, I'm guilty, I'm guilty, just for, 5 minutes of fame or whatever like that. The people who insert themselves into the case and know better than that. There's just so many cases going on right now. It's just tough for me to just stick on one case. It's just, I have a deep involvement in Delphi and Evansdale too, but in some of these other cases, Flora, nobody even cares about Flora. I feel bad for the families. I just do, because it's definitely not helping them. But I would, if I was the families, if I was part of the families right now, I'd be pissed off at everybody, not just the defense, but everybody.
And I praise the family to have the strength to come out and stand behind me. As difficult it is for me to talk about, I can't imagine the difficulty it is to stand here and listen to me talk about this heinous act.
And, Southern Gal's the same way. Southern Gal is great. I like to try to get on her lives as much as I possibly can. I can wake my lazy ass up in time. But Southern Gal is great. She has great content. She doesn't stick to one case. She likes to, spotlight on, these cases that are critical right now, especially missing persons cases, because, the more attention you can get out there for the people who are missing right this very second, or that's what I try to focus on too, is a lot of the cases that don't get a lot of the spotlight, so not saying I'm better than anybody. It's just, that's what I like to try to do.
So,
any other questions?
Chief, you may have already said, what were the ages of the folks involved?
The Markayla was 22 years old. Her children, Messiah was 4 years old. I'm sorry, Messiah was 7 months old, and Miracle
7 months
was
old.
4 years old. So, all right.
7 months old, just unbelievable.
I'm sorry, did I get something wrong? Miracle was 4. Yes. Okay. Yes.
The media wasn't notified until a couple of days after you guys were notified that she was missing. Can you talk to why it took so long to let the public know?
Well, you said a couple of days is when the media was told. I'm not sure about the timeline of when the media was told after but oftentimes you get a missing persons report and you really don't know what you have until you really start looking into it, talking with family members and seeing what you have. So, generally we try to get those out as quickly as possible, particularly when.
This business here is depressing. It's just, people who get involved in true crime is, it's not an easy thing to do. This is, you hear stories like this, it's just absolutely horrible. But, you gotta try to get the spotlight out on it, and you gotta try to brave through it. But, these cases hit home too. This is horrible shit here.
When someone's in danger or we feel like there might be foul play involved. So, I can't really talk on when we put that information out, but at the same time, this is a gruesome ending that we never, ever want to have a conclusion to when we're talking about missing people. So, all right.
Has
Yes.
she ever reported any abuse or anything like that?
I don't have that information. That is something I'm sure will come out in the investigation. So there's a lot more information that needs to come out at some point. So just stand by. We'll get all those questions answered. We're hoping to have some additional answers even on the.
Yeah, this is South Carolina. It's a Gamecock shirt right there. So South Carolina.
Investigative end within the next day or so. All right. So thank you all. Thank you for coming.
All right, so that's that case. I'll try to keep an eye on that. They're looking for the guy anyways, so that's why I wanted to play this here. I don't think they've given an identity to who they're looking for yet. I'm not sure, but all right. So I wanted to play this too because this happened back in 2022, and they finally got an arrest. This is also Indiana, so let's hold on. Give me a second. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but this was the kid in the suitcase. Remember that? They found a kid in the suitcase unalived, and they've been tracking down whoever dumped the body in the suitcase or put the body in the suitcase, but they I think they arrested the mother, not sure. So this happened a couple of years ago. This came out I want to say this was a little before the Kylie Rodney thing, but we'll see. Hold on.
Okay. You guys ready? Okay. Thank you all for coming. Go ahead. We need to. Thank you all for coming. It's I won't have a bunch of detailed information today, but it's still a significant announcement event. It's still a sorrowful and a somber moment in the investigation, but it's something we've looked forward to and anticipated for almost 2 years now. And I'm sure you're all aware of the tragic and horrific death investigation of 5-year-old Cairo Jordan that began April 16th of 2022.
Yeah, this came out. I forget now when this is. It just seems like forever ago now. But they had found a body of a young kid in a suitcase, and they've been trying to find who left it there. So they just arrested the mom. I think it was either yesterday or Thursday. I'm not sure. So another horrible thing. Who would do this?
And on that date, a local mushroom hunter found a brightly colored suitcase with the Las Vegas motif in a wooded area in rural Washington County on Holder Road. Cairo was 5 years old at the time of his death. And since that date, our detectives have worked tirelessly to bring justice.
Yeah, I think this was the Vegas suitcase, right? It had strange colors to it. This was big news a couple years ago, and then nobody heard anything about it till today or yesterday.
To this case and justice for Cairo. In October of 2022, arrest warrants were issued for Don Coleman and Dejon Anderson in relation to this case. October 26th of 2022, Don Coleman was arrested and, as you're all aware, stood trial and was sentenced in November of last year. Earlier this week, Detective Matt Busick received information from a concerned citizen which started the path to physically locating Dejon Anderson, the mother of Cairo Jordan. Acting on this information, Detective Busick worked hand in hand with ISP troopers who are assigned to the U.S. Marshals Task Force and with U.S. Marshals themselves. And working hand in hand with them kept the U.S.
You gotta love the U.S. Marshals, man. They're just if you want somebody to be found, you go get them to find them. They'll find them.
Marshals abreast in California on the information that we were receiving and gathering. As a result of this information investigative work, these officers, investigators apprehended Dejon Anderson last night without incident in Arcadia, California.
Right? You can't, people always say your kids will always be kids, like no matter how old they are, they're always kids. They always look like they're 3 or 4 years old. It's just, it's just sad. It's just a nightmare.
She was arrested on a warrant issued out of Washington County, Indiana, that was issued back in 2022. Excuse me. That warrant, again, was for murder, neglect of a dependent resulting in death, which is a level 1 felony, and obstruction of justice, which is a level 6 felony. She is currently being held at a Los Angeles Police Department detention center in Van.
I'll have to try to get the arrest warrant for this from MySpace. I mean, my case. Because I didn't know they had an arrest warrant out for her back then, too. So I didn't know that.
Nice, California. And as we speak, ISP Detective Busick and detectives from the Indiana State Police Post here in Sellersburg are actually en route at this time to California to continue this investigation. So again, a huge milestone, a day that we're very happy that we've come to at this point. It's still a somber day, but we're very, very pleased and happy that we have.
You know, the kid had no choice. It's no chance, nothing. It just sucks.
Who we believe everybody to be involved in this tragic murder case in custody at this time, so the investigation can move forward. So I don't have a lot of detailed information I can give, but at this time I'll take any questions that I can.
As part of the
I mean, elation, you know, and it's a somber moment when you think back to the whole story, the whole case. You know, I was in that area of the crime scene just last week, and it just brings back a lot of memories. But you know, this is something, you know, I'm not a detective. I'm not the one out there that's putting in those hours after hour in the middle of the night sometimes, and all different locations. But a lot of sweat and blood and tears going in an investigation like this, and I'm just very happy for.
That's why they always say the best thing you can do with your kids is to keep film and footage from when they were small. So when they act out or disagree with you or something, or just cause you nothing but pain, you can always whip out the photos and see, I remember you when you were like this. I remember that. Remember that? Hi, sweetie. Go to sleep.
For those men and investigators who've really done everything they can, and to have the break, the information that they needed, that we knew would come. We did know that this day was going to come, but to have it come at this time and to have her in custody, I'm just excited for them. We're all very excited, lifted up and buoyed by the fact that she's behind behind bars, and can be brought back to Indiana, so we can continue this trail for justice for Cairo. You say when? Roughly earlier this week. It was relatively recent information.
As part of the plea agreement, did Coleman agree to testify against Anderson when she was arrested?
That's something you'll have to speak with the prosecutor's office in that case, but that's my.
Like I said, this was big news back when it happened in 2022, but then you know, it just kind of went away because there was so many other stories after this. I think you had the Dylan Rounds thing going on. You had Kylie Rodney, I think. You had the Idaho thing happen, and I think that was the fall of 2022. So this kind of got left in the lurch here, but I'm glad they, you know, you always say, what are the cops doing? Well, obviously the cops are always working because they've been looking for this person for a long time here.
My understanding but that was something that I can't speak of.
Although Cairo didn't have any connections to this area, I've been getting a lot of feedback from the public just asking about the mother's whereabouts and how that investigation.
It's something that, you know, again, it's been almost 2 years. It was April of 2022. We're just a few days away from that date. It's very common to be stopped and asked about how the investigation's going. Have we learned anything, you know, and just moral support. The community of Washington County really came together for Cairo, provided him with a funeral, with a headstone. There's still flowers to this day that are placed at his grave site.
I thought it was Kiro, but he's saying Cairo, so not sure. They didn't have any idea who he was. I didn't think until they must have did some DNA testing on him.
And people praying for him and his family. And that justice would be done. So again, a huge event in this investigation to bring that one step closer. To my knowledge, at least, no. She was the only one arrested. Again, it was a cooperative effort with the Indiana State Police detectives. We also have Indiana troopers who are assigned to the U.S. Marshals Task Force, who did a lot of work in this case to get that information going and in connection with the U.S. Marshals in California. So they're working hand in hand. Obviously, we can't be here in California at the same time, but working hand in hand with the U.S. Marshals, this is something that, you know, we were able to do because of that cooperative effort. So they did a lot of work for us. Very pleased And of course, they're elated too to be able to find her. So did a lot of work.
I don't know the last name. I think he said Anderson, but I don't want to say that until I'll play another one here soon.
Again, behind the scenes, a lot of phone calls, a lot of information back and forth between agencies and people at different locations.
What are the next steps in bringing DeWan Anderson back to Indiana?
Right. So that will depend. Again, our investigators are en route now to hopefully speak with her. A lot will depend on how that goes as far as is she willing to waive extradition and come back to Indiana. If not, that will take a process. That's a process that would probably take at least 30 days for that to happen before she'd be sent back here. So that's something for the prosecutor's office to work with and to work on right now. Can't give any timeline, but it could take time. A lot just depends on what happens. The state, all I can tell you is that when she was located.
No, Dean, I was able to revive the one that I had. It was just a power cord. So all of that fussing last week over the computer, it's just a power cord. So I got it running. So that's good news. I'm cheap, but at the same time, I don't want to get rid of this one either. If it's been a good computer. It's just last week was. Sorry about the stream last week. It was just a joke.
She was attempting to board, or in the process of boarding, a subway, or I should say, a form of public rail transportation that's common out in California in that area. So she was mobile.
This one here is just so much faster. The other one was good. It's just, I didn't have really anything on it. So, but this one here, the sound is better. Everything just works better here on this one. But it still has a lot of problems. The H and the G don't work all that great.
She was walking when she was taken into custody.
So that's pretty impressive that they were able to track her down.
Hello, Minor Monsters. How are you? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Minor Monsters is awesome too. You have a channel too, right? Minor Monsters. If you want to post it, you can in here for sure. Minor Monsters is awesome too.
That many miles away, and the fact not that she was at a home or anything, she was en route moving.
I can't get into all the details exactly how long they were watching, those types of things, but yeah, it's just great work. Again, the U.S. Marshals were very appreciative of everything they've done for us here today, and the authorities in Los Angeles. Again, she is in a Los Angeles Police Department jail in Van Nuys at this moment. Whether or not she'll stay there, I don't know. But
oh, thank you, Southern Gal. It'd take me probably 6 years to find it. If you could grab, that'd be great. Minor Monster is a great person. She's in and out of all of these the good streams, anyways. I was actually able to catch Frankie live. I think it was yesterday, but at the tail end. Frankie's great too.
They're working hand in hand with us so that we can move this case forward.
Did she resist at all?
To my knowledge, there was no resistance. She was taken in without custody, or excuse me, without any incident. She was taken into custody. That's really all the information I can share at this time. Again, but we're just very excited that we're at this moment. So almost 2 years in coming, and now we can move forward. So a big relief, when this case started on that evening of.
Yeah, I remember when it didn't look good. I didn't even think they had an identity on the kid yet. So, just a tragedy. Just the kid had no chance whatsoever.
In April, there was a ton of unknowns. We had no idea who we were dealing with. Young Cairo, was tragically taken without any identification there with him. So we had a lot of work to do. And, our first task was just to identify who we had.
I only chat in good channels. That's classic. Thank you. No, Minor Monsters is great. Very, very intelligent.
And there was a lot of speculation by the public and people in the different industries about what was going on. In the end, it was good old-fashioned police work. that led to all these answers. And I can't praise our investigators and detectives enough.
And no outstanding suspects after this?
At this point, to my knowledge, yeah, we have everybody that we believe related to this case in custody at this time.
What is it that you want to see in the community that you guys serve just really come together and then
Is there an I don't think there's an insanity thing in Indiana, right? Whose name? Cairo Jordan. Anderson? Oh, thank you. That's what I thought.
Right.
But if there's an insanity plea in Indiana, she'll probably try to use that.
Right. I mean, again, it's a small community.
I mean, everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but we'll see.
A rural community, so to see everybody come together, which they always do, but just to see that public support and know that they're standing behind you and giving, if they could do anything, they would. So we're just thankful for all their help and for their thoughts and prayers through this whole process.
Thank you, Southern Cal. Thank you a lot for that. Yep. Frankie on the think tank and Mexi and Dandy and all those fine people there. She does a great job.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the warrant that was the warrant that was actually issued back in October of 2022 in her name, Dejon L. Anderson, for count 1 murder, a felony, count 2 neglect of a dependent in debt resulting in death, a level 1 felony, and count 3 obstruction of justice, a level 6 felony.
Is it Dejon or Dewan?
Dependent in debt resulting in death, a level 1 felony, and count 3 obstruction of justice, a level 6 felony.
Like I said, I'll try to pull this up on my case in Indiana to see the charges on her, because I didn't know they had an arrest warrant for her back then too.
Is it Dejon or Dewan?
I have to admit, the exact pronunciation of her name, I've heard it both ways. So you might want to look into the exact pronunciation if I misspoke a few times. Dejon, I've heard Dejon, I've heard a few different ways, but I've typically gone with Dejon. Any other questions?
Any pictures or anything of her?
I mean, I've got from out there,
Yeah.
not this time. No. So, again, through your sources, if she's in custody out in California, there may be something you guys are able to do, but I don't have anything like that at this time. Just the former mug shot that we had from the prior investigation, early in the investigation.
The boy's father, the family?
I can't speak to any of that information at this time. So, thanks, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, it's strange how they're not mentioning anything about the father. Let's play this one here. What's this here?
A mother accused of killing her son, putting him in a suitcase and dumping him, is finally arrested right here in Southern California. Indiana police have been looking for that mom for 2 years. She was finally spotted on the border of Azusa and Arcadia. NBC4's Karma Dickerson is live now with more. Karma.
Okay, so she was arrested in California. Okay.
It's worth noting that they had been looking for this woman all over the country. They ended up finding her just over my shoulder. Towards the end of the Thursday evening commute, along a tucked-away Metro light rail track in Azusa, a nearly 2-year-long manhunt came to an end.
A lot of sweat and blood and tears going in an investigation like this.
LAPD posted these photos showing the arrest of Dewan Anderson, the woman accused of killing her son.
Dewan Anderson. So, yeah, I was right with the last name. Woo!
And stuffing his body into this suitcase in April of 2022. Investigators believe the little boy was killed in Kentucky and dumped in rural Indiana.
Okay, so this is a lot better. We're getting a little bit more information. So he was unalived in Kentucky and then dumped in, I can't say that. He was brought to Indiana. Hello, Lone Pony. How are you? Good to see you. Hope everybody's having a good week. We're just going over this another horrific case here. This happened a while ago. This happened in, I think, 2022. And they just arrested her in California. So,
And on that date, a local mushroom hunter found a brightly colored suitcase with the Las Vegas motif in the wooded area in rural Washington County on Holder Road. Cairo was 5 years old at the time of his death. And since that date, our detectives have worked tirelessly to bring justice to this case and justice for Cairo.
Indiana State Police gave the details of Thursday's arrest, saying one of their detectives had gotten a tip about Anderson's whereabouts that led them to an LA suburb and to this metro station. U.S. Marshals and LA-based law enforcement, including LAPD and LA sheriffs, helped arrest her.
When she was located, she was attempting to board or in the process of boarding a subway, or I should say a form of public rail transportation.
Anderson is now the second person arrested for her son's death. Police tracked down the first, her friend Dawn Coleman, in San Francisco in October.
no, Mrs. Steve is always about the eyes, for sure. I hope she's doing well, too.
2022. Last fall, Coleman was sentenced to 30 years in prison for her role in the child's death.
It's still a somber day, but we're very, very pleased and happy that we have who we believe everybody to be involved in this tragic murder case in custody.
So what brought this Midwestern woman to Azusa? That much is still unclear. She just happened to be in this neighborhood, or whether she was staying around here. Investigators didn't go into a lot of details when it comes to that. She is now being taken to a facility by LAPD in Van Nuys. Now, how long she stays there, in some part, depends on her. Now, if she agrees to extradition, she can go back to Indiana pretty quickly. However, if she has to be formally extradited, it could take more than a month to get her back in Indiana. Reporting live from Azusa, Carmen Dickerson, NBC4 News.
Okay, so that's the end of that one. Let's see, what else are we going to do? We're going to go...
Ian Klein here for WMBF News at the alert desk this evening. We do not have a 6 o'clock, but we are following.
Oops, okay, let's stop that there. Give me a second. We're going to go to... Riley Strain. Let's do Riley Strain next. This happened. When did this happen? Okay, so I'll keep an eye on that too. Obviously, there's been a lot of this. Actually, there's been quite a few breaks in old cold cases recently. One last week, I think I played. 40 years. And then they finally found the person who did it. All right, so let's go to this. This was done a day ago. New clues in search for missing Missouri student Riley Strain. He's still missing. So let's do this. Let me share this because I always forget.
Breaking news alert. The last Broadway bar a missing college student visited is providing detailed new information about what happened in those moments.
This whole case, this one here reminds me so much of like Dylan Rounds. Dylan Rounds had went to a bar, right? And then he just went missing after that.
Moments leading up to his disappearance. 22-year-old Riley Strain disappeared while visiting here from Missouri 1 week ago today. Now, News 2's Adam Mintzer spoke to Riley's dad and cousin and joins us now from where Riley was last seen. Adam, what did his father?
I agree, Southern Cal. I love it when the the perpetrators think they got away with it, and 40 years later they found that they didn't. I know one of the ones that I reported on last week, the cold case. The guy had already been dead for years, but still, it gives people who are left alive some answers.
I'll tell you.
They told me that they actually spoke to the Tennessee Alcohol and Beverage Commission this morning. The commission asking them for more details about Riley, assigned to them that this investigation into whether he was overserved at Luke Bryan's bar is ongoing. You mentioned that statement from the bar. Let me read a little bit of it to you, giving us a new timeline of what happened at Luke Bryan's bar. It goes, during Riley's visit to Luke's 32 Bridge, our records show he purchased and was served 1 alcoholic drink and 2 waters. At 9:35 p.m., our security team made a decision based on our conduct standards to escort him from the venue through our Broadway exit at the front of our building. He was followed down the stairs with 1 member of his party. The individual with Riley did not exit and return.
All right, hold on a second here. At 9:35 p.m., our security team made a decision based on our conduct standards to escort him from. So this is coming from the bar, right?
Standards to escort him from the venue through our Broadway exit at the front of our building. He was followed down the stairs with 1 member of his party. The individual with Riley did not exit and returned upstairs. Family told me that Riley was at that bar with a.
He was followed down the stairs with 1 member of his party. The individual with Riley did not exit. Okay.
About 8 to 10 of his friends. Now, Mark, this all started last Friday, a week from today, when Riley was in town for a fraternity event. As you were saying, Luke Bryan's bar was the last place he was seen. He told his friends after being escorted out that he was going to go back to the hotel. It appears he went the opposite direction. The friends didn't see him back at the hotel.
Hey, Heather, how are you? Good to see you. Heather's in the house. All right, what was I doing? Sorry. Good to see you, Heather. Thank you for coming in.
Hotel, so they called 911 about 16 hours later, around 1.
So that's him there, right? That's the guy there. So let's
So they called 911 about 16 hours later, around 1:45 on Saturday. And since then, the family has been not concentrating as much about what happened at Luke Bryan's bar, but
why does he look back this way?
Where he was last seen, saying that that is what they want to know more about.
We're still concentrating on the final bridge that he never came out from under. That's what we're looking for is him. That's where we want the answers. Anything that happened up to that point, we'll deal with when we can.
That final bridge is where I am right now. This was the last place Riley Strain was seen on surveillance video and within the range of where his phone was last pinged. But as his father was saying, after he leaves this area, it's almost like he disappeared. So their call is for surveillance video or anyone that might have been here on First Street last Friday night between the hours of about 9:30 and 10:30 to contact police if they have any information. Mark?
And Adam, we've been talking so much for the past week now about the search for Riley, but today, of course, you talked to the father, you talked to his cousin as well. You learn more about who Riley is as a person. Share that with us as well.
Mark, his cousin and dad said that while so many right now might be having the impression that Riley was the kind of guy who would go out and party with his fraternity brothers frequently, that's actually not the case. That's really just...
Is that the one with the people think there's a serial killer around there, Lone Pony? Is that the one, or is that a different one? Because I know there's also one going on where people are just, unaliving themselves in water down in Austin too. This case here, it's the same one. Yeah, I've been following that too. Yep, very much so. Since this is college, it's fraternity maybe issues here. I don't know.
just a small part of who he is as a person. They say that he was a loving family guy, called his family 3 or 4 times a day, was talking to his mom at 7:30, making fun of her a little bit for going to bed so early on a Friday night, and was determined to be best friends with his little cousins, some of which are just 2 years old. Mark?
Adam, thank you so much. And News 2 will have continuing coverage as officials work to find Riley Strain. And you could see the video.
All right, so let's, I got another one I want to play here. Hold on a second. Right here. Honestly, I haven't been following this one as much because there's, like I said, there's so many other ones going on. Okay, so which one? Oh, this one. Which one am I on? Hold on a second. Yep, it's that one there. Too many windows open.
The search for missing Missouri student Riley Strain.
So I think this was done an hour ago. So this is the latest. On the Riley Strain here.
Continues as today marks 1 week after his disappearance. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 10. I'm Kenley Hargett. The 22-year-old was visiting for a fraternity formal when he was asked to leave Luke Bryan's bar. The bar's ownership group, TC Restaurant Group, says he had a drink and 2 waters before being asked to leave. News 2's Nikki McGee has more from Riley's parents.
Does anybody believe that? Does anybody believe that he only had 1 drink and 2 waters? Because I don't.
Who are still in town from Missouri searching for him. Nikki?
Well, Kenley, it's been 1 week since his parents got the call they hope to never receive.
I mean, that was one hell of a beer then. I mean, I'm not saying that that's in what we just saw and what everybody's been seeing. That looks like more than one beer. But who knows? Could have been roofied or something.
Learning that their son was missing. Ever since then, they've been here on the ground looking for him. However, they say every time they get a text or a ping or a call on their phone, they just hope that it's Riley on the other end.
It's been a week. We haven't heard his voice. We haven't gotten text from him. We're ready. We're ready, you know.
It's a point the family of Riley Strain hoped to never reach. 1 week since their soon-to-be Mizzou graduate disappeared from downtown Nashville and was reported missing. And since then, his family...
Yeah, 1 beer is just... you always go into the bar saying, just 1. I'm only going to have 1. Yeah. Never happens.
...hasn't rested easy.
Middle of the night, you hear that ping. You're jumping up. You're like, is it Riley? Is it, somebody that knows something about Riley?
I mean, this is Nashville too, so this is a bustling place. I mean, it's not like out in the boonies. This is there's a lot of people. Guy looks like somebody that we know here.
So, yeah, it's time. It's time to bring him home.
Although some cameras capture the 22-year-old making his way through downtown Nashville, heading towards the Metro Courthouse, his family explains there are gaps and cameras pointed in the wrong direction to know exactly where to look. They also say Riley's Apple Watch location wasn't set up, leading to another dead end.
We're ready to get this over with. We want some answers. We're a weekend. It's not getting any easier. No. Time seems like it's really to the critical point.
Could you imagine being these people? This is just absolutely horrible. Not knowing anything. They don't nothing. It just sucks.
We want to ask anybody if they know anything to please share it.
OEM canines, boats, and divers continued checking in and around the Cumberland Saturday, although family says they don't believe Riley is in the river. As family works to get through this grim milestone, what's keeping them going is the kindness of others, including loved ones cycling down to Tennessee to help search, along with strangers driving and offering up hours of their time.
Just can't thank them enough. I mean, it's so amazing.
it restores your faith in the American people. You know, you hear so much negativity and darkness, but I can tell you it's definitely changed how I see and how I feel just by the way people are reaching out to us. It's amazing.
Now, family's biggest hope is that they don't have to return home without Riley. They also told me that on Monday they do have an appointment with police where they hope to review more surveillance footage. Again, if you have any details in the meantime on where Riley could be, even small details, you're asked to call Metro Police right away. Reporting live in downtown Nashville, Nikki McGee, News 2.
Thank you so much, Nikki. News 2 will have continuing coverage as officials work to locate Riley Strain. For a full timeline of search efforts, you can visit our website at WKRN.com.
Yeah, I agree with that statement here. Let's look at this.
Right now, there was a search in Ripley County at Versailles Park for an 18-year-old who.
That's another one that I wanted to do, but I want to go, hold on a second. I want to go over this one here. I agree with this statement, though. You try to want to stay to yourself when you're around that many people because you never know. Okay, Jocelyn. Let me see here. Then I'll move on to something else here. All right, so this is still with... Yes.
After a night on Broadway 1 week ago, the University of Missouri senior was kicked out of Luke Bryan's bar on Broadway before going missing while wandering downtown.
Oh, we'll watch this too.
Jaxie Pigeon is here with the latest on this investigation.
Well, Allie, Luke Bryan's bar says it served Riley Strain one alcoholic drink and 2 waters prior to escorting him out around 9:35 that Friday night. The bar ownership, however, did not say what actions led to his removal. Now, what Riley consumed prior to his time at that bar remains unknown. Earlier this week on social media, Luke Bryan himself called the situation scary, saying he's praying for Riley's safe return. Riley's family tells News 2 at this time, they're more focused on what happened after he was kicked out of the bar. Based on the surveillance video released so far, he's been seen at 9:45 between 3rd and 2nd, intersecting with Church Street. And then a few minutes later, he's crossing 1st and Gay. The moments that followed still remain a mystery, and those closest to Riley are pleading for answers. Chris Dingman, a family friend whose son grew up with Riley, says he's been calling on rideshare drivers to search their dash camera from that night. He's also asking people who were seen in the surveillance fitted video to reach out with anything they can recall.
In today's technology.
So this road is closed. Because when he's kind of walking across the street here, it almost looks like he wants to go down this road here. But
in society, it just blows our mind how in a major city like
nice freaking car right there. Look at that car.
That somebody can vanish.
Now, at this time, Metro Police say they have no indication of foul play. They tell us they're still waiting on records from Riley's phone and Apple Watch to find where he might have gone. If you have
a good night, Dean. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Get some good sleep. Anybody else that wants to get some sleep, go right ahead. It's late. It's 2 o'clock. I should have done a map on this, but you know, with me and maps.
Have any information or have seen Riley, you're asked to contact Metro Police. Allie.
Jaxie, thank you. And of course, we are going to continue to follow this story as it develops. You can find the latest updates on our website. That's WKRN.com.
Right now, there was a search in Ripley.
Okay, so I want to give you a second here. Since I started playing this a couple of seconds ago, let's continue this one here because I think this is in Indiana. Did they find this guy yet? I think didn't they find him? Hold on a second.
Owen is live at the scene right now. And Andrew, what are you seeing?
Brett, we're right here at the entrance of the park, which is essentially closed. They're not letting anyone through. But earlier today, there were 150 plus volunteers out here looking. At one point, Ripley County EMA put out a statement saying, essentially, we have enough volunteers. That's because on top of that 150 volunteers, there are more than 100 people from various law enforcement agencies, all here looking for 18-year-old Carson Hughes. He was reported missing here yesterday. Family and friends tell us he spends a lot of time here. That's because he's also a wildlife photographer. His social media account shows a lot of nature posts from this state park. At 1:30 yesterday, he was reported missing. We're not sure by who. Indiana conservation officers located his vehicle here. It was unlocked and the keys were still inside. It was parked near a boat ramp and his kayak was on the water.
Good night, Lone Pony. Have a good night and have a great rest of the weekend. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. I'm always on Twitter. Let's see here. So I don't know if this guy was found yet, but by accident, I just clicked on this. So I don't know what's going on here with this one.
Nearby. Now his camera and tripod gear were also out and his shirt was also found. Sort of looking into all of this.
So the Indiana Department of Natural Resources said Ripley County dispatchers received a report Friday afternoon about an 18-year-old man, Carson Hughes, who went missing.
Is a long list of agencies that are helping.
Using like side scan sonar technology, thermal imaging, and then we have drones in the air, helicopter in the air, that type of thing. So we're going to exhaust the entire, lake in the back and the creek here, and then all of the trails and the biking trails and kind of the entire park.
There are two things complicating this search: the weather.
Are you going to sleep?
Earlier this week has made the terrain rough and the water is muddy, although we're told the water level is lowering. And then also the scale of the search area, the lake and the park area that they have to go through is large. They got about 2 hours left of daylight. They said after that, they're going to assess what the next steps are and the plan for tomorrow. Once we know that, or if we hear any more updates, we will bring that to you on air and online. In Versailles, Andrew Rowan, WCPO 9 News.
Okay, so that's, hold on, let's do this.
More news now happening now. Hundreds.
I haven't heard about this one. So this was done 6 hours ago. So obviously, I thought they found this guy.
Of people are searching for a missing 18-year-old from Osgood, Indiana. Carson Hughes went missing in the Versailles State Park yesterday afternoon, where he was taking some photos. The Ripley County Sheriff's Department reports about 200 people started searching again around 8 o'clock this morning. The last man to see Hughes telling us the teenager is a talented wildlife photographer who often works with him. When folks from the company Hughes was working for went to check on him, they found his kayak, truck, and camera at the edge of the lake.
I don't know if I have a Twitter tag. I don't even know what is a Twitter tag.
But no sign of Carson. Sheriff's deputies saying it's all hands on deck now to bring Carson home.
We are absolutely exhausting all resources. A lot of our divers and our boat crewmen, they're coming from different districts, from Evansville to here. And then we also have several other agencies working with us. Like I said before, the state troopers, the Ripley County Sheriff's Department, all the EMA directors. We've even had volunteer crews from Cincinnati come and bring their equipment as well. So it's been a huge turnout to figure out what happened here.
So this is Versailles State Park, Indiana, right? Let me hold on a second. I have no idea how people find me on Twitter. I'll let you know though if I find out. But I don't know that. Wouldn't it be Owl on the Prowl? I don't know. So this is the park here that they're looking at. Let me back the hell out of this here. So that's, I'm trying to figure out where this is in Indiana. Right there. So kind of on the eastern side of, wow. Beautiful place. Look at this place. Wow. So this is where they're looking. I'm restricted. I have no idea. I'll let you know though. I have no idea. Hold on a second. Let me get out of this. I just wanted to see where they were looking for this kid. All right, so. All right, we're back.
And we are told crews will continue searching the area into the night. They say the efforts may continue tomorrow. Well, let's turn our.
I have no idea. I'll let you know though. All right, so let's get out of that. I wanted to do this. Give me a second here. So this came out too. I just find this kind of interesting here, and I want to play the rest of this here, because this woman has been just getting annihilated, and I haven't really. I don't know if I've made a decision yet or whether or not I think she's involved in this, but all over social media, this woman here has just been getting tattooed. So this is the Madeline Soto thing in this tagged, "Where is Jen?" So let's look.
That shows Stephen Stearns returning to the complex, and Madeline was visible in that vehicle. We believe she was already dead at that time.
Oh, dick pics, yeah.
Already dead in
my
the video.
God.
This is the man who was the prime suspect in the murder of Madeline Soto, her mother's boyfriend, who she referred to as stepfather. I don't know if that's what Madeline considered him a stepfather or not. That's clearly not how a stepfather is supposed to act. So I would not give him that title. So Jen Soto spoke to WFTV to recall what happened and spoke about what happened that morning. Remember, she gave this interview when this was still a missing persons case. Let's watch.
Dumbass.
We called the police at like 4:45 yesterday, 4:45 p.m. But she actually went missing early that morning, around between 8:45 and 9 o'clock in the morning. She went missing. We dropped her off at school, close to school. She wanted to walk the rest of the way. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share.
Our guests are back with us. Trebora Randall, how would you approach mom in this situation? Do you approach her as a witness or as a suspect?
Well, we always approach them to gain the information we need to find this child. And then now that we know this has taken a turn for the worse, to gather the facts to make sure we bring the person to justice. It is not uncommon that we end up treating some of the mothers in these cases as what we refer to as a hostile witness. I wish I could tell you that I hadn't had a number of cases where we ended up charging the mother for protecting her paramour, is what we call it when we're referring to her partner that she's not married to. And oftentimes it puts a child at a higher risk many times when we know that the mother has a boyfriend in the home and they're missing, or there's been an injury. Statistically speaking, that's a lot of times who we're looking for.
Kenneth Ralph, if in fact she does have an attorney at this point, how does that change the dynamics here?
Well, presumably she will not be speaking to law enforcement if she has an attorney. And I would echo those comments that it's not hardly uncommon at all that we see a non-offending but non-supportive parent involved who either knows what is going on and turns a blind eye to it, or hinders the investigation in some way after it has started. But in this instance, if she has hired a counsel, I'm sure that counsel will tell her not to speak to law enforcement.
Yeah, you guys always do that, Ken. Always. They never talk. Dr. Carol Lieberman, where do you think the mother is mentally at this point?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and it kind of depends upon whether she knew anything about it. You know, if she did know, then she's realizing that everything's going to be coming down on her as well as the boyfriend. If she didn't know, then she'd really be in shock, and she'd be, all the more upset. But one of the things the most important thing I think that people need to learn from this case, and I know I said it last time, but you can't say it too many times, this is a typical scenario where these sexual predators find single mothers who have low self-esteem, don't have, a very exciting life, good life, don't have a boyfriend or a husband, and they swoop in when the mother has a child. And really, they're doing it. They're becoming the boyfriend because they want to sexually abuse the child. So whether she knew or not, consciously or unconsciously knew, that's what she let herself in for. And women have to be so careful of this.
Gray Hughes, what have you uncovered about the mother and any indication where she is right now?
Well, I have no idea where she is right now, but I'm sure an attorney's probably had her, go low, hide from the public eye, make sure nobody can see or talk to her. Because the interviews that she did, there's so many people judging her based on how she answered. In my opinion, it's very possible that the information she's telling us was scripted by Stephen Stearns, and she's just kind of repeating. That's why she's kind of looking up in the air, trying to remember what the story is. But one of the issues that she does have that I think people should think about is when she said that at 8 a.m, she saw Madeline getting dressed for school. Now that might come back to be a problem for her because at 7:30 in the morning, Stephen Stearns was putting the backpack.
I think this case is taking on a life of its own here. And I would not be shocked in this case if this clown here, this absolutely living piece of dog shit, and I'm not talking about Gray Hughes, I'm talking about this guy, Stephen Stearns. It's possible that he might have had some sort of grooming going on with her for the longest time and threatened her that if she told anybody that he'd unalive both of them. So, I mean, I don't know if that's, who knows?
And laptop into a dumpster, which we would all assume at that point then, Madeline's likely not alive at that point. So at 8 a.m, how is she seeing her now? You could say, well, she made a mistake, it was off. Now, law enforcement might be able to determine based on digestion or any other elements exactly when she passed away. So when she died, it could have been at, let's say 5 a.m, and that would mean that Jennifer is offering proof of life at 8 a.m. to help support Stephen Stearns' story, right, at that point. So that would be an interesting development.
Yeah, that'd be a major problem for her. What did he do to her? What did he do to her? Stephen Stearns, this man from Central Florida. What did he?
I hope this guy gets run over by a pickup truck. I really do. I mean, this guy, oh my God, these people are just out there in society and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just, I don't like this guy at all. That whole interview, I just wanted to bash him in the face.
What did he do to Madeline Soto? The allegations are going to make you livid tonight. Combing through the 32, 34, 36 pages that were filed. This is maddening. It's worse than we thought. The more we learn, the worse it.
Welcome back, Jocelyn. Do you work during the lives? Are you working? Because that's what I do. I usually listen and drive when I'm listening to other people. because I'm usually working this time at night. Yeah, me too. Whoops, what am I doing?
Gets in this case. I want to start here. Madeline's 13th birthday. This is the photo. The birthday party on the 25th. The day before she goes missing, and I believe the day before she is murdered. Or maybe it was later this night. I don't know. But she was born on February 22nd, 2011. Okay? She was just 13. Just turned 13. So the question is, and this is what I've been wondering, what did he do to her? How long was he doing this? And there's a lot of ambiguity surrounding the circumstances and the relationship of Madeline's mother and this man. What was he? What was he to her? And how long was he there? What was he doing? Well, Shannon Butler from WFTV, investigative reporter down in Orlando. Years ago when I worked at Orlando, I worked with her. Incredible reporter. They're digging up everything they can. She was on the show giving us a few more details about the background of when Stephen Stearns enters the life of Madeline Soto.
We looked back at the Facebook posts and we could trace Stephen Stearns, what appears to be in the life of Madeline and Jen Soto, at least 6 years. We've heard from different folks that maybe there was a period that maybe they had broken up and may not have been around. It depends on, what the friends have to say, but at least the posts that we could find on social media went back as far as 6 years.
6 years? She's only 13. She's only 13 now. You go back in time. So we went through these documents, and what I want to show you now, so you have an understanding of what we are talking about, the amount of times, and these are just the offenses that he allegedly recorded and documented.
No, you're not rambling. I usually am the one that am the rambler here. This is just got to be stopped. These people have to be 13 years old, man. Just
and kept on his phone. 2019, this goes back to.
Yes, we are the ramblers, Southern Gal. We ramble and ramble and ramble and ramble.
2019.
Okay, so I got to read this. This is really so sexual battery on a child under 12, capital. Ugh. Why is this guy still on the street? This is so weird.
She's 8 years old. Look at this. What did he do to her? What did he do to her? This is what he's documenting. This is what they believe they have proof of him doing to her.
How does nobody know about this stuff? That's weird.
A lot of things I'm noticing about these dates. A lot of summer dates. June, July, August. Okay, I want to back it up a little bit now to remember what we know about this guy and what he told us about what was going on here. Because he spoke to WFTV, gave them an interview. At this point,
yeah, it's definitely possible. That's definitely a possibility.
It's a missing persons case. But still, let's watch and let's listen now in light of all these allegations that have been made about what he was doing to her.
I dropped her off.
All right, this is the interview that just gets me because it almost seems like he's choking back laughter in this. It just, when I first saw this, I didn't believe a word he was saying. I just didn't. But you know, who would ever think somebody would do that?
Everything looked fine when I drove away. So last time we saw her, she was asleep for most of the way. Told her have a good day in school when she got out. I love her. She said, thanks, love you too. That was it. This is not normal behavior. She's not the type that would just run off. We don't know where she could be, and we're scared.
Who cries like this? Nobody cries like this. Nobody. It's impossible to cry like this where you have no, like you're talking and you're crying at the same time like that. It's just nobody does that.
We just want her home. I dropped her off early. I could have waited longer. She looked okay. She was walking towards the school when I saw her. It was like any other day, so I went on with my day. It's hard not to blame myself. It just keeps coming in waves. This is the reality keeps hitting. And we don't know where.
You and me both, my monsters. Like this. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Believing his own lies. Yep. No doubt. This guy here is a piece of dog shit.
She is. We don't know if she's safe. We're just scared. We just want her home. I even went out with the cops where I had dropped her off. And we looked all up and down the road, all along communities.
See, the thing is, like I said last week, this is such a big area. Like Kissimmee, Florida is, you can't go anywhere without being caught on camera. The lights, all the lights have cameras. You go in and out of toll booths all the time there. It's so they probably have this guy on a ton of video evidence.
There was nothing helpful. None of the cameras were pointing the street. Nothing, which in 2024 was surprising. The church across the street had some cameras, and they mentioned seeing her waiting around in the parking lot for a while before moving on.
Oh, congratulations, Heather. Awesome. That's awesome news. Yeah, absolutely. Good news.
And that was it. But it was grainy. It was grainy footage and not much else. She had a happy weekend. She just turned 13. She had her 13th birthday party. She was happy that we were all together here, and she's just very happy. She was a happy kid. She's very sweet. She's a very sweet girl. She brings a lot of joy to us, and we just not knowing. It's like our whole world is upside down. Not feeling her presence here is.
See, it's like he's almost choking back laughter there. It's just absolutely insane. This person is not with it here.
Sorry. It's hard.
Oh God, I hate this guy.
All these allegations that are, again, a result of what they got off of his phone. And then you listen to that. Like, she was happy. She was not happy with you. She was not happy in that house. She's probably scared to death. Goes back to 2019. All these years. Do you really think you dropped her off and she said, oh, yeah, I love you too? No. Stop. Stop. Here's the question tonight, though.
Sometimes Vinny, man, I'm telling you, he just. I think he might be a little crazy too. This guy here.
What changed? How did things change? If it's 2019, 2022, 2023, now we're in 2024. What changed with this 13th birthday? That instead of a sex abuse case, we are now talking also about a murder investigation. Let me bring in my special guest joining us in Los Angeles, board-certified forensic psychiatrist, trial expert, witness, and columnist, Dr. Carol Lieberman. Dr. Carol Lieberman, what should we be thinking about? What is the potential? Like, what changed here?
Well, the typical thing that changes when sexual abusers stop is a few different things. One, some have age preferences. You know, some get more turned on or more attracted to children of a certain age. So when they get to be older than that age, then there's not as...
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Vinny's at first, but he's grown on me. You can tell he has a little bit of passion for what he does. There's certain cases that get to him a little bit more, and I don't blame him. I mean, cases like this here is just you just want to bash your head against the wall. You know, you just want to, well, how can this be happening?
as much sexual attraction or fulfillment. Another reason is some men get scared when the girl starts menstruating because they don't like the possibility that they could, that's kind of shocking to them when, oh yes, wait a second, you know, there's the possibility of her getting pregnant. And then, of course, as the older they get, the more there's the likelihood of them saying that they're going to tell someone, you know, threatening to tell. Now, what I have found to be super interesting, chilling and ironic, but she had said there was a message on her phone where she said, once I turn 13, I want to go out into the woods, words to that effect. And of course,
I felt that kind of odd too. That's why I'm saying she might have been in fear for her mom and her own life. I mean, you know, these guys are pretty clever. They know of ways to keep these people from talking sometimes. And not saying that happened. I'm just saying it's definitely a possibility.
ironically, she was found in the woods. Her body was found in the woods, but that is not what she had in mind. But what that does show is that she may have wanted to break free, and he may have gotten.
Yeah, it sucks when it's that close to you. Like I feel the same way about the Adam Montgomery, Harmony Montgomery case here in New Hampshire. There's another piece of dog shit right there. I mean, it hits hard. It definitely, when it's close to you and it's closer to you, it's. I mean, this kid had everything going for her, you know.
I'm scared at that time.
Get out of that house of horrors that she was living in. Let me ask you this: from what's been, again, these are the ones that I believe have been documented on his phone, and that's how they've gotten these charges going back to 2019. But I look at the dates. It's June, it's July, it's August, summer months when school is not in session. I'm looking at the years of the alleged.
I don't think he's from Florida. He doesn't sound like he's from Florida anyways. The mom probably is, but I don't think he is. What I want to know is where's the original dad?
Abuse, 2019, nothing in 2020. Starts back up in 2022, 2023, into 2024. But that was COVID. Nobody's going to work. Nobody's going to work.
That's a good point because you have this huge gap here.
Should we be reading anything into this? I mean, I'll tell you what my gut is telling me is that summer break, mom has to go to work. I don't think this guy works. Tried to get some work at Disney, not to make money. And then COVID, he can't be alone with her. Does this tell us anything about?
You mean because the mother would have been likely home?
Right, remote.
COVID.
Nobody was going to work in 2020.
I bet. I've been wanting to know that for a while. Whether it's just, oh my God. I mean, he must be devastated.
Right. Yes, of course, also that could have been the time when they broke up. That reporter was saying that they might have had a gap.
Okay. So what are your thoughts now? Because there's a murder investigation going on. Do you think at age 13, would a child feel like now I can fight back? I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a teenager. I'm going to fight back.
Yes, 13 is a very, it's a crucial age. It's a turning point for a lot of kids in a couple of different ways. First of all, in regard to their mother, girls and their mother, it's a time when
you literally can't trust anybody around your kids. I never did, never do, because I come from a place where years and years ago, I'm talking about back in the 70s and even early 80s, this happened a lot, but people never said anything, so they were afraid to. So not like it is now, where you say something, people take sometimes some action, but back then, if you said something, people looked at you like you were kind of weird. So I get it. It's just this is just disgusting.
girls start, wanting to branch out into the world, maybe start dating and so on. And when mother looks at the girl and sees that she may be
sucks.
It may be a time in her life when things are.
Oh, that's horrible. That's terrible. We go to Kissimmee all the time. We love Kissimmee in Orlando and Florida. Maybe not so much Orlando, but Florida.
Are going down, or not as exciting at the very least. And
put it this way, I'd rather be in Florida right now than here, because the weather here is just absolutely horrid. It's terrible, and it won't get better until about July.
And she sees her daughter blooming. Now, I'm not talking about this family necessarily, but sort of in general. But also, yes, I'm a teenager. I should be able to break free. She said, I want to go in the woods. So what does that tell you? It really does tell you I want to get out of this situation.
I've always been a bigger fan of Western Florida anyways. I don't mind. Like, I love Fort Lauderdale and places like that. But Naples, Florida is one of my favorite places on the planet. It's the kind of beach is just white sands, beautiful oceans. It's just I love Naples. Naples is awesome.
And I think she might have felt, in regard to him too, that it's time. It's time for me to tell you. No.
The coffee sucks down there, though. I'll have to say the coffee. It's getting a little bit better, but the coffee down there, yeah. But if you're in Florida, what the hell are you drinking coffee for?
More.
And let's talk. Everyone's still talking about mom as well. What are your thoughts about mother-daughter relationship? This stuff is going back to the time that
half of my family lives over by Gainesville, Florida.
She's 8 years old. Would you expect an 8-year-old?
Look at her. She's just, mom looks really happy there. Just
to tell mom what's happening. Would it be obvious to a mother that something is wrong if an 8-year-old is being sexually abused?
Sweet tea sucks.
Well, it certainly should be obvious to the mother, since he was living with them and so on. But there are reasons why mothers turn a blind eye. The one is that I was mentioning before about, when you want to hold on to the man, and this is what you sacrifice.
Last time I was in Florida, I found out they don't have French crawlers. Because I remember, was that when I was with, the kids? I was looking for a French crawler, and they're like, what the hell is a French crawler? Never mind,
Sacrifice my daughter. I know you want to have sex with her. It's unconscious generally. And also, I was thinking, if it turns out that he was selling his photographs and videos and so on as pornography, then and would have been making money from it, then perhaps the mother knew she was complicit. She wanted the money from what he was selling.
But the IHOPs in Florida are just amazing, just
wow, there's so much for investigators to uncover here. At this point, I just have.
And the Waffle Houses, of course. And apparently Shoney's went out of business, because I don't think they have any more Shoney's down there. But they were good too.
To reiterate, no one has been charged with the murder. The mother has not been named as a suspect.
Well, have a good night, Heather. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate you coming in. Yeah, Waffle House is so bad it's good. The coffee there really sucks, but who cares? It's all about the entertainment.
Obviously is a suspect in all of this. He's being held with no bond on all of these charges. What would you make of the mother not cooperating? And I don't know if this is happening, but if she's not cooperating, like if she's not telling investigators everything she knows about her daughter's life inside the house, and about Stephen Stearns, who's been accused of doing this to her daughter, if she's not cooperating, would you read anything into that?
Yes, if she's not cooperating, then that means more likely that she did know at some level what was going on, and she was either complicit with it, for financial reasons, or to be able to keep him with her. The less she cooperates, the more it seems like not only that she's protecting him, but that she's also.
Well, I know what I'm getting Mr. Steve and Southern Gal for Christmas. They're getting a whole bunch of Waffle House hash browns.
But she doesn't want the world to know that she went along with this.
All right, Dr. Carol Lieberman, great to get your insight.
All right, so that's that. I'm going to get out of here too, but I did want to play one more thing before I leave, and this is, I was talking about this stuff kind of earlier. Give me a second here. So let me stream this. I want to thank everybody for coming in too. Everybody's been great tonight. I got the greatest chat, literally. Everybody seems pretty cool in here. But I wanted to play this here because this is what I was kind of talking about earlier. 86-year-old man sentenced to 20 years in prison for the 1986 Garland murder. And I followed this case years ago. And like I said, this brings some sort of closure to some of these families. So here we go.
Live out his final years in prison, captured and convicted for a murder that happened nearly 40 years ago. Advances in DNA technology made it happen. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager spoke with a prosecutor who helped close this case. Peyton.
And Barbara Villarreal's family, the victim in this case, they flew to North Texas from Indiana for those victim impact.
Oh, it's so good to have you in here, Mighty Monsters. You're awesome. Southern Gal's great too. Southern Gal has probably, arguably one of the greatest streams ever. She's great, very smart, very intelligent. Stays out of the drama too. But this is what I love about true crime is these guys here, they think that they have their lives, to live after they've done heinous stuff. And, 20 years. Go to I don't care if you're 86, you're going to prison for 20 years. When they catch these guys, it's everything.
Impact statements today. They said on the stand that they finally have closure, and then they went on to thank the generations of Garland detectives and the Dallas County DA who all did not give up. The family of Barbara Villarreal traveled a long way for a short hearing Tuesday morning. But they've been waiting 38 years.
No, I pretty much told you, Heather, everything I know. So, and that's not much. I don't know much.
To hear the man who brutally killed the Garland woman admit in court he is a murderer.
Barbara's mother, 93 years old, still alive. And what was very important to her and the rest of the family is that she lived to see the day somebody was convicted for murdering her daughter.
On November 7th, 1986, Villarreal was found stabbed to death at a home off Cobalt Street in Garland. For nearly 40 years, the case turned cold until a new forensic technique matched a decades-old blood sample to now 86-year-old Liborio Canales, Villarreal's brother-in-law. Tuesday's murder conviction is the Dallas County District Attorney's first using what's called investigative genetic genealogy, or IGG. One of Canales' family members had DNA in a public database.
You guys are all awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
is an investigative tool, but it's not solving our cases. We still need traditional police investigation methods. Detectives and agents out working the grounds. They're traveling, interviewing people. This doesn't replace any of that, but this certainly helps us, identify and put people on the right track to make sure that we do get it right.
Canales, a Mexican citizen, was arrested in New Mexico last summer. Investigators noticed he was traveling back and forth across the U.S.-Mexico border. When he went to visit family in New Mexico in July 2023, the FBI was waiting for him. Once in custody, Canales confessed to the murder, stating he killed Villarreal over a family dispute. After Tuesday's guilty plea, Canales was sentenced to 20 years in a Texas prison. Right before Canales was taken away.
I agree. Any advancements they can get to make, these families that are, it's awesome that the mom's still alive. These criminals need to go to jail, man. They need to go to prison for the rest of their life, or, whatever, the harshest punishment. So any technology they can do to do that, that's great. Yeah.
Villarreal's family sent a strong message stating they will never let him occupy their thoughts again, and the life he lived should be considered a gift.
They may have done some ungodly acts in their lives, but they know that they might be meeting their maker sooner than later, and I do think it helps get people to accept responsibility, plead guilty.
Now, back in '86, Villarreal's husband was interviewed by police and then later cleared by police, but the husband was later killed in a shootout in Mexico in 1988, 2 years after Villarreal was murdered.
All right, so that's that. Like I said, I want to thank everybody for coming in. Everybody's awesome. I like to try to share one of those every week, but it's really hard to find some of these cases that actually get solved. But some of them do, and that's what you want. You want these guys to face their freaking punishment, because it's just not acceptable in society. Anyways, I want to thank Miranda Lee. Miranda Lee's awesome. Southern Gal is awesome too. Go check her out. She's great. Minor Monsters is great. Thank you so much, Minor Monsters, for coming in. It's been great. She's got a great channel too. Let's see here. Heather Brown, Heather Weir. Thank you, sweetie, for coming in. You need to go to sleep. Heather Brown is great. CJK was in here. I know that. I saw her for a little while. If I miss anybody, I'm sorry. I was in here. Let's see here. I hope everybody has a good weekend. Great weekend. It's raining out. I can hear it again. Let's see here. Dean was in. I know Dean was in here. Mark was in here too. Miss Persevere was in here too. Miss Persevere is great. She's got a channel too. And I think that's it. I think that's good enough, though. But anyways, I'm about to get out of here. Like I said, have a great night. I'll play my outro and get the hell out of here.